Hi, Dana. Welcome to the Integrative Health Coach Success Podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, our pleasure. I'm excited for us to chat about kind of what you're doing in the health and wellness space because not only is it something that I can relate to, but I think a lot of our listeners can. So I'm looking forward to our chat. What I would love for you to start is, can you share with our listeners a little bit about what you're currently doing in the wellness space?
Yeah, so I currently am partnered with Bodi, which is a health and wellness company. There's two aspects to it. Number one, help clients, help mainly women show up for their health and happiness, no matter what season of life they are in, really focusing on the journey being a transformation that starts inside out. So plug them into workout programs and nutrition and mindset tools. As well as an incredible community because we need more women encouraging one another and saying yes and being just helping hands and empowering one another. So there's that aspect. And then I also mentor women to build a business by saying yes to their health and happiness, and really just stepping into their power and overcoming goodness, self-doubt, limiting beliefs, every single excuse, but just making your journey your number one job and earning income by doing so.
That's great. And have you always been kind of focused on health, wellness, the business building aspects of things, or were you doing something else before kind of stepping into this role?
Yeah, so that more so started after I had kids. I got started in the health industry in 2012. I stepped into my first bar studio, and for the first time, I felt joy moving my body. And for a long time, it was all about just punishing myself and counting calories, and it was always from a negative place. And I didn't know that I didn't realize the journey could feel good. And then they asked me to teach. I kept going for a very long time. Then they asked me, have you ever thought about teaching? And I'm like, wait a second, me? No, I have no experience in this. What? They were like, we think you would be great at it. So I got certified to teach. And through that came my yoga certification and tons of other just certifications. And I actually moved from Nashville to Louisville, Kentucky, and opened up my own yoga business, teaching out of, my husband has a nightclub here, teaching on the dance floor there to very loud, upbeat music with the laser lights going. It was so fun. And I had no business experience or anything. I just took a risk and did it. And that was almost 5 years. And then finally I was pregnant with my second baby, and we retired that to become a full-time stay-at-home mom. And I was like, wait a second, like I still have dreams. I put my kids to bed every single night and I sing them this song about going after their dreams. But I'm not doing that myself. So at 38 weeks pregnant with baby number 2, I signed up and I said yes and took a chance, not knowing how, but I knew why, and I figured it out.
Yeah, it's something I think that so many women struggle with, where we have this kind of thought of like, I have to be one or the other. I need to like stay at home or be this full-time working mom and be out of the house for, 8 hours plus a day. And, there's so much of this polarity between the two. And I do think there's a middle ground. I mean, I'm proof of it. I know lots of other women, obviously yourself, that it really you can kind of mesh the two in a way that feels right for both, what you're able to bring to the world and how you're able to help others and what feels good to you, and also be there for your kids at the same time.
1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. And I think also too that they are watching who you are and how you earn an income. And, if that isn't something that really brings joy or is aligning with your values and your life, I think you owe it not just to yourself, but to them too, to explore more, because there are so many ways to tap into your creativity and passion and start beautiful businesses from online. And there are so many women also sharing how to do it. It's just a matter of really getting intentional with your time and always being in alignment of the life that you want to live. And, you know, your babies are watching. And I think that's the most important motivation you will ever get, is that they're not, you know, we don't really get to give them, can't say like, just do it. You know, we don't get to just talk the talk, but why not walk the walk with them? Because it's beautiful and it's messy. Oh my gosh, it's messy and it's magical, but that's life, right? It's both. It doesn't have to be either or. They can blend together really, really beautifully.
Yes. Yeah. And I think so often, again, when even I hear women talking about blending them, right, it's kind of like, you can do this and it will be wonderful. And I love that you say like, it's going to be messy, right? Because there's days where I'm like juggling my laptop and like feeding my 6-month-olds, and my 8-year-old is asking me a question about schoolwork. And it's like, it can feel like you're juggling a lot of things, right? But in the same sense, you know, like you said, they're watching, and how you handle that and what you kind of make a priority, they see. Kids never do what we say. They only do what we do.
Yes.
And I'm like a big believer in talking about work as like, mom's going to work because I get to help people, or I get to, rather than I have to, so that they understand like work doesn't have to be this like soul crushing event that you take in every single day.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And there are so many women that feel stuck, and instead of taking action from that stuck feeling, they just sit in it. But eventually, like, you know, falling down is inevitable, but getting up, that is a choice. It's a choice that you have to do, and not doing it is hard. Doing it is also hard. We just have to pick, and, you know, we got to pick which hard do we want, especially at the end of the road, you know. And the number one regret of the dying, not to be morbid, but is all the things that people that they didn't get to do. And every day you're a beginner. Every day you get a new opportunity to take a breath and be intentional with where your time and where your thoughts and where your energy is going. And it can, even if it's 5 minutes of action a day, 5 minutes of action every single day for the rest of your life is going to compound to create incredible change. You know, it doesn't have to be this all in mentality. It can be slow and organic. And when it's slow and organic, it is sustainable, which is really, really, really important when you're doing anything, whether that's your health or working out or starting a business.
Yes. And I couldn't agree more with kind of all those points, as far as, you know, what we kind of have for potential, right? In whatever phase that we're in is so important. And I'm curious to know from you, what do you see as kind of the biggest challenges that women face? So when you're kind of coaching them to step into their potential or with business, what are the biggest challenges that you're seeing them face?
I love this question so much. I think a lot of it has to do with belief and mindset, and understanding that you are your biggest obstacle, but you're also your biggest opportunity. We're both the problem and the solution at the same exact time. And I've read personal development every single day for 4 years. And I will tell you now that there is no hall pass for struggling. Nobody is exempt from struggling. The difference is you can sit in the struggle and you can do nothing about it, or you can sit in the struggle and you can let it be your superpower, and you can turn it into strength. And if you don't, the struggle will last forever. But when your next peak is determined by what you do when you're in the valley, that's where the magic happens. Because whatever pain you're facing, there's power to it when you are intentional, and when you start aligning the action, and when you choose the heart of moving, not necessarily like sprinting, but just moving through it organically. And it's uncomfortable. It is very uncomfortable, but sometimes we get so cozy in our own uncomfortableness, right? Like the kind of uncomfortableness of just like accepting life and letting it happen to us instead of the uncomfortableness of seeing that maybe this is happening for me. How can I transition and get uncomfortable on the other side, the uncomfortable in growth instead of being just stagnant? And that's hard. It is hard, but not doing it is also really hard.
Yes. Yeah, I think you make so many great points. I mean, one, I think social media specifically gives us so many opportunities to connect. It gives us incredible, opportunities to have community and to, it's a wonderful space. However, it also is a major highlight reel. And I think for so many practitioners starting out in the health and wellness space, they can kind of see like, oh my gosh, this person like has 17,000 followers. They're so good at these videos and like they're doing all of this. Or they might see another practitioner like in person and they know everything, but it's very uncommon that we ever see the struggle to what happened for those people to get there.
Right.
Dr. Cabral, who created IHP, and I don't know if it's his image or another image, but you kind of, I'm sure you've seen it, like the iceberg, kind of like the top that people can see, but then like the image below, which is all of the stuff that nobody sees, the late nights or the self-doubt or hiring a coach to kind of mentor you through it. Right. And if we don't acknowledge and kind of, I think like get real with one another about what it takes to kind of, follow a dream and a passion.
Yes.
It can feel like I'm the only one struggling. Am I the only one who's like juggling all these things and can't keep it together? Right.
Exactly.
So,
and there's no, like, I've never read, and you won't find a story like this anywhere that says, I decided I want to start the business or start the health journey. It went perfectly. Everything went according to plan, and that's how I succeeded. Do you know how boring that is? And what I'm finding on social media is when I show my struggles, that's how I connect with women, because nobody is inspired by your perfection. Nobody's inspired by the good days. They're inspired by the days where like all of that happened and her daughter didn't sleep through the night and she's potty training and she's homeschooling and she still found the time to show up. Why can't I? And it's so true. Nobody wants the perfect story. I want the woman who has been through the mud and came out on the other side. That's the woman that I want to run with. That's the woman that I know is not holding back in her life and is walking the walk and not just talking the talk.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And I think the other thing that you mentioned is perspective, right? We can kind of look at our own situation and think, okay, these are all the reasons why I can't, or I shouldn't, or I haven't, or we can look at our situation and think these are all the reasons I could, I should, I can. And it's just, like you said, a simple mindset shift in kind of how you're viewing whatever your circumstances are, because everybody has pros, cons when it comes to what they have going on at that, given point in time based on where they are in their season of life. I just talked to a woman who she's called an empty nester. Her kids are out of school, out of the house and in school. And she was like, yes, I have all this free time to like do me. And she's like, but there's still like this hole in my heart. Like I would go back if I could, she said. And I think as young moms, we can be so busy and so inundated that we kind of forget like the beautiful place that we're at this point, and like just can't wait to like get to the time where it's a little quieter and we have a little bit, right? But like that's just destination happiness. And when we get there, there's going to be something else that might feel like a
Yes. I'll be honest, I had no idea how I was going to build a business through newborn life and toddler. I had a newborn and a toddler, and then enter a global pandemic. Like I had no idea what I was doing. My daughter didn't sleep through the night for 19 months. I was nursing for 2 years. Like there was all these things. My mom got diagnosed a year ago with cancer. Like life, lost my mother-in-law. Like life does not stop. It doesn't stop. Less busy is not coming. The perfect time is not coming because it's here. It's in this moment because that's all you have. If you just took a breath, that was a moment that you could have been taking action. And you get that opportunity with each new breath that you take. Like, there is so much power in that, that we forget. We forget. Perfect time is always now. That's the answer.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's the only time we have. Yesterday's gone. Only. Tomorrow's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. A guarantee. And in the moment is, and we oftentimes spend that time worrying about stuff we can't change or things that may actually never even happen in the future. And we rob ourselves of that present opportunity.
Yes. And we always go to worst case scenario, that we completely block ourselves of best case scenario. What if you succeed? What if you blow your mind because you become this version of yourself that you had no idea existed, and you're the cycle breaker in your family? Or whatever that is for you. What if it is so much better than you ever thought, but you're just sitting in the paralysis?
Yes. Yeah. When I was pregnant with my second, it was a girl and she was 13 days late. And I was like, oh my word, my doctors were giving me like all sorts of trouble. They wanted me to get induced and they were going to let me go to 15 days. So on day 13, I went to this little store down the street that sells like little like home type of stuff. And I was like, I'm just going to pick out something for her bedroom. I'm like, I'm ready. I want you to be ready. I found this sign that I absolutely loved. And I don't know why, like in the moment it resonated with me because she wasn't even born yet, but it's just a wooden placard and it says, what if I fall? And the next line says, oh, but my darling, what if you fly?
Yes.
And, it's
I got goosebumps.
It's that same like thought process of like, again, perspective, right? Like you might fall, but you also might not. And what the risk is in my belief, the ultimate risk is never doing anything at all.
Exactly. And think about it, when we're babies, how do we learn to walk? We fall over and over and over and over and over again until we get back up and we figure it out as we go. And if we can believe this about ourselves and we're babies, why can't we as adults? Because falling is necessary. Could you imagine being an adult still crawling because you never got back up after you fell? Like so many destinations that you would have missed out on because you were too afraid to get back up again. And you started that when you were a baby, and that is still in you. But this world just makes it, it kind of robs us of that. We get older and it's like, ooh, now suddenly I'm afraid of falling, when it used to be a 100% natural thing that you used to do. And you got back up every time. We forget that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With hardly any tears. Yeah.
Yes.
Have a little guy like learning how to stand and it's like he literally like bangs his face on the table.
Yes.
He's gonna cry and he doesn't.
It doesn't even phase him.
Pulls himself back up again.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's still in us. I fully believe it's still in us as adults. We got to pull it back out.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And so when you're working with clients who are you also apply this same kind of thought process to people or clients trying to get well. Is that true as far as like exercise and health are concerned?
Yes. Really mastering just consistency and the small, simple habits. Like it is we really overcomplicate health and wellness in general. We think that it's like this huge, like we have to give up everything. We have to uproot our entire lives. And I think that's why so many people struggle is we forget to, number one, start small. So like you can start drinking more water today. You can start eating one more serving of vegetables before you decide to do them for every meal or whatever that goal is for you. If you cannot do 30 minutes of movement, start with 10 minutes and then you celebrate it. Like celebrate every single choice that you make to better your life. Because I know for me, for years, it was always about like punishing myself. Like, no wonder I was never consistent. I was being so mean to myself. And then when I started associating positivity with it and then really more about the life I wanted to gain rather than the weight I needed to lose or I thought I needed to lose. But just like celebrating yourself and realizing it is a gift, and there's not a single day in your life where your health is not going to matter. Like, we put so much effort into like losing weight because the summer's coming, or we have a reunion coming up, or a wedding, or whatever that is, that we forget that life is the occasion. Life is the special occasion that we should be showing up for. Like, I want to run with my grandkids when I'm 70. I want mobility so I can open the jar of pasta sauce when I'm, 65, or, it really is about training for life and just being good to yourself and elevating your life and not depriving. Health is not supposed to hold you back. It's supposed to be the opposite. I think that we forget that because, there's just a lot of like quick fixes and stuff like out there. And we want instant gratification, right? And you can start feeling good on day one when you move your body from a place of love. Doesn't mean the scale is going to move that the first day or whatever that is for you, but really just making it about feeling good. And truly, when you feel good, your physical transformation will be an organic byproduct of that work. That takes time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think the other thing too is the people think that like getting into some sort of like health wellness mindset is expensive, right? But like if you did all the foundational things that are entirely free, drinking more water, moving your body, getting some
sunshine, yes.
So many things are at our fingertips, and frankly, even if they had a cost, would be just as important. That, people, there's, I think, so much information, and now like with biohacking stuff, people think that it has to be an expensive process, and it just doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But first of all, I fully believe, and I think that this is kind of, some people aren't in this mindset yet. Your health is an investment. It is not an expense. You put so much money into your home or, things like that. Like, but what about our health account? Because it literally every day we're either investing in it or we're taking from it. And we don't necessarily, we don't view it like that always. And I think that's important. There are a lot of sugary lattes out there that are $5 that people don't think twice about putting into their bodies, and they crash in an hour of having it, but oh my gosh, $5 for a superfood smoothie, that's really going to can't afford that. It's like, can you not, or are you just choosing not to invest in yourself because you're always your greatest investment? You are.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, that's so true. It again goes back to perspective, right? Like what you're.
Yes. And there's a cost when you don't do it. There is a cost when you don't do it, because going to the doctor is expensive. Medication is expensive. Missing work to go to those places, that is expensive. It all adds up. So if we can prevent as much as possible, that's worth investing in.
Yes. Yeah. And I think when people truly realize what it can feel like to feel vibrant and well, like that's the ultimate. There's nothing worth like a monetary value more than that, in my opinion. Right.
Agreed.
Because what good is all of the other things if you wake up feeling all of the things, depressed, anxious, like your body hurts. All of those things, then everything else that has monetary value isn't enjoyed the same way.
Completely. If we're waiting to take care of ourselves until we retire, we're not going to be able to. Like, you can't enjoy your retirement if you physically cannot even walk anymore because you've neglected your health the entire time because it was just too expensive and you didn't have the time. Like that's the most backwards way of thinking, in my opinion, because these right here, no matter what age you are, these are the best years of your life. And you get one body. You're in your dream body already. Whether or not it ever feels like that is up to you. And if we just asked ourselves, this one powerful question before we did anything. Does this align with who I want to be, how I want to feel, in the life I want to live? With everything. Before you put something into your body, does this align with how I want to feel? Like, it's so simple. If we want better results, let's start asking better, more powerful questions, because there's like, success leaves clues. Because when you start making those decisions, and it just starts becoming second nature and a part of who you are, and you're not missing out on anything when you are gaining a better life.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And you had mentioned kind of the whole, going to work out and punishing yourself. And a lot of my story, I've shared on social media this one thing of, I was doing like all of the things like dieting and exercising to punish myself to look differently. And it wasn't until I actually worked on my mindset and like why I felt the need, so much shame, and I wasn't coming at myself from a place of love. It was just all like guilt and shame. And once I addressed that, I didn't actually have to do all of the other things anymore, because my body actually felt safer to literally just exist, because I wasn't being so awful to it constantly.
I love that.
Like so many women struggle with that, where we think like we have to beat ourselves up to get any type of result.
Yes. There's a powerful exercise that I encourage everybody to do. And that is, all of the negative things that you think about yourself, write it on a piece of paper. Everything mean you've ever said. My thighs jiggle, I have stretch, whatever that is for you, write it. And then you're going to go find your daughter or your son or your mom or your dad, and you're going to read all those things, but you're going to say it like you're saying it to them, your best friend, whoever. You would never even get one thing off a piece of paper, because you wouldn't believe it true for them. So do not for a second believe it true for you, because if you can believe the negative and see everything that you're not, you're completely overlooking everything that you are. And transformation, it truly does start inside out. And you're right. When you do start prioritizing, I loved calling it heart work over hard work. Like, do this first, and I promise the physical takes care of itself. Eat like you love yourself. Speak like you love yourself. Move like you love yourself, and the results will happen. But if it is coming from shame and comparison, you're going to block yourself every single time. And you are you. If you were meant to have her results, you would be her. But you're you, and that's your superpower, because you can do everything another person is doing, and you will never have the same results, because you're not them. You weren't meant to be. You're you.
Yeah. I completely agree. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, so if someone's kind of listening and they're like, oh, it sounds like she's, honest about where she's been with her, business and all of that and everything that we've talked about so far. Is there one thing that you would kind of say has made that has made you successful, that you would want somebody else maybe in your position who's either wanting to start mentoring other, coaches, or coaching clients themselves, or stepping into business opportunities? And maybe it's a lot of stuff that we've already talked about so far, but maybe it's something different. Is there kind of one thing that you think has made things successful for you?
I think belief and consistency, I think, are the two real superpowers. You have to show up every single day. If you want to create an incredible life and incredible results, you have to show up every single day. I'm not saying all in, but you have to do something every single day to move your life forward. Even if that's 1% better every single day, that's 365% better in a year. You cannot tell me that is not progress. And if some days you only have 1% in you, you gave it 100% of what you had that day. And then the next day, because you did it on the day you didn't want to, you might be able to give it 150% because you created momentum, you found the motivation, and you started to create the habits. And your life is a reflection of your habits. And habits are easy. You already have habits that you probably don't even realize that you have. But if you have time to watch Netflix, mindlessly scroll on social media, you have time to change your life. You really do. If you can go in a drive-through line and sit there, you have time to change your life. It doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes of action, 10 minutes of action. There is so much power when you put intention behind what you are doing. And I think alignment too. When you start aligning what you're doing every single day with the life you want to live, the results they're organic. They just happen. It's no longer a matter of how, it's when. It literally just becomes when it's going to happen, because it is. You have to be consistent. You cannot entertain your own excuses while also saying you want change. You have to get uncomfortable, and I really call yourself out. I know it. No, not out, up. You need to call yourself up. Because again, your life is a reflection of what you do every single day.
Yes. And I think when you go at it from the thought process of nobody has more time than the other. We all wake up with the same exact amount of time.
Yes.
So how come there's people doing this and there's people doing this, right?
Yes.
And yes, we don't want to compare what your situation's like to somebody else's. And it may be that you have a lot on your plate right now, but like you said, if it's 1%, or you take one of those maybe not so great habits that's contributing to a life that you don't want to feel or experience, and you replace it with something good, now we're just replacing time that you were spending doing this with time and now we haven't actually added any extra time to what you're doing. You're just taking one poor choice and replacing it with another. And nobody has more time than the other. It's just how we choose to use it.
Yes. And I heard, I love this saying that says, your heart is not special. And that's hard for people to hear. Your situation, it's not special, but what you do with it is going to be so special. Because if you don't know, like, oh my gosh, Oprah's story, like, incredible. There are so many people that would have used what she went through to not do anything, but she didn't, like, there's so much power in your struggle, going back to that again, and yes, you're right. We all have 24 hours in a day. There are people out there with less talent, less knowledge, less resources, less money, less time, claiming the things that you want because they decided to do something about it. It's a decision, and every day we can either evolve or repeat. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. If people are listening and they kind of want to connect with you further or find out more about what you're doing, where are all of the places that you show up? Social media, websites, anything that you want to share with us?
Yeah, so it's simple. It's just Dana, DANA _ McGowan, MCGOWAN _ And then I have links in my bio that you can click or just send me a private message. But I love connecting with women. This community has saved me more ways than I can count. And again, I just love sharing the mess and getting to be myself. And I'm a huge introvert, but I get to be a little bit of an extrovert on social media, and where I'm literally in like sweatpants. I get to wear sweatpants all day and just be a mess, but make magic out of it. It's so much fun.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny because I would call myself an introvert too, but kind of when you know that like it's your people that you're connecting to, and there's a community aspect of, certainly you don't know every single person that's following you, but a good majority of the people that you kind of stay connected to all the time, and it can start to feel like this little inner circle. So I totally agree.
Yeah, I've met some of my very best friends from these little squares.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Integrative Health Coach Success podcast. It was such a great interview.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys found some value in it.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much.
Of course. Bye.